Hello everyone. This paper, it's about modeling fog and cloud collaboration methods on large scale based on a real physical system that we developed. Okay, so this presentation will be divided into basically two parts. The first part we will discuss, we will talk about what is fog and its relation to cloud, and about our real system that we have already developed, and real system on a physical infrastructure. And then we'll talk about the model that we are presenting today, our structure and how it was validated. Then we will present the large scale model and its results. So fogs, basically, fog computing is expected to decentralize clouds to improve users' quality of service, and that's basically users start accessing cloud or other fogs resources through nearby fogs. Fog, in this case, you can view it as a mini cloud near users, which are usually built with private resources, users' private resources. Okay, so those technologies like Internet of Things already has been used in fogs, and basically they push some computing into mini clouds, which are fogs close to users, and they can be offloaded to the clouds as necessary. We have developed a complete fog cloud collaboration methods to conduct simulation experiments as services. And those fogs and clouds that we built using our private resources, and they were our private clouds, and they were based on the OpenStack cloud operating system. And basically, users can manipulate their experiments throughout the nearby fogs, and which are our system or the fog cloud collaboration methods that we have already developed and we need to model today on a large scale. They're supposed to dynamically discover and allocated simulation resources for those users' experiments. Okay, so the real system that we have developed, it is basically, in this case, for example, this is just an example. It has one fog and it has 4 VMs servers. Okay, each server, in this case, it's like a simulation server with a complete middleware that can execute some simulation resources, some kind of simulation tools like CD++, for example. And here also we have one fog, and the client can access resources through this fog. So the fog collaboration methods, it is job basically, once the user start executing those experiments, we need to discover the resources and discover the resources that could be on anywhere on the fog or cloud, okay, and select best resources to execute those simulation resources. And the way we did it, basically, we grouped similar resources in pools. In pools, for example, the one on the right, which is the number one, the one on the left figure, it's basically when all of the resources, for example, advertise the same simulation tools, the fog servers is like they have in one kind of pool. And the other one, when they start advertising different resources, they can have different resources pools to find and discover those resources. This system, all of the details about the real system, it can be found on this publication. Okay, so interested readers can go there and study and read about it in more details. Okay, so then if we have the real system, why do we need this simulation model? Because it was difficult in practice to study those methods, scalability using real system. It's hard to study those systems with only 20 or 30 servers. So since we already have the real system, we used it as a reference, real system to validate our presented model today. So our main purpose here, basically, to prove that our proposed fog and cloud collaboration methods in the real system, they still can operate on a large scale. And our model basically, we only modeled the physical system. However, the real code and that conduct or the code that's written for the fog cloud collaboration methods, it's the same. There is no difference between the model and the real system. So the model structure, basically, as we can see at the bottom, we have three types of coupled models. The top model, which is basically to wrap all of it, and we have the cloud model to structure cloud elements, and the fog model to structure fog elements. Really, there is no difference between the cloud and fog models, because they are basically like both of them really clouds. Okay, so and also we have four atomic models: client, router, link, and PM servers. The client atomic model, it is used to simulate client devices and the users inputs to the user to the system. To the system. So basically, how to run the simulation experiment, etc. For example. Okay, and this our example showing one client instance. And we have the router atomic model, and in this example, we see in like three routers. Okay, and this router basically simulates layer 3 network routing and layer 2 switching. Okay, so basically it is like the name, it's just routing. So each router is assigned a unique prefix IP address, and if the destination IP address for the incoming messages matches the prefix address, the message is then forwarded to the local network. Okay, to the local network. Since this server is attached, that means it is attached to this router or to a child router. Otherwise, it is passed to the parent default router. The link atomic model, it is basically simulates network's latency. And it is, of course, latency can be caused by many factors like network congestion, distance, network devices, etc. So in our model here, latency is simplified by simply holding the transmitted message, going through it for some certain delay. So if an incoming message is coming and we need to delay it, for example, for 10 milliseconds, we will stamp it with this release time 10 milliseconds from now. And all of those events are stored in descending order and start releasing them with each simulation text as required. So the link atomic model then becomes in our model. The issue is now how the link model determines a message delay. Okay, how much do you need to delay this message or that message? Okay, so our first source was the results we collected from many different setups of our real system. We already have the real system, but we have it on a range of like 10, 20 servers, things like that. Okay, or 30 servers. Okay, so basically, the collected results we took consideration, for example, the delay that transmitted within certain clouds, fog to cloud, client to fog, etc. Okay, and we used like some kind of occurrence probability. For example, if a 10 millisecond showed in our data that 10% of the delay time was like 10 milliseconds, that means that to delay on this link for 10 milliseconds, it has a probability of 0.1, and so on. So, however, our real system, it doesn't work on, like, it wasn't built over across cities, like too many cities. It was built in one city geographical area. So we were short in the case of how to simulate on a very long distance. So we use this one, like we use already public and published gathered data by some companies, and the reference for those data is already listed as a reference in our paper. So the VM atomic model, which represents the server in the real system, and which is really in our real system, it's the RESTful based simulation middleware, okay, installed on those servers that can run and execute simulations, okay. And many tools can be built on top of this middleware, okay. So like it support like it's not specific for it's not specific for some simulation tool. Okay, so each server contains a scheduler. In our algorithms, the FAQ cloud collaboration algorithms, there is an important component, we call it a scheduler, which is exists on each server on the like in the entire system. And basically like this one is very important for us because it's responsible for the discovery and the selection of simulation resources throughout the FAGs and cloud. So it was important for us to use the same code as the regular system. So this part uses the same source code as the algorithms in the real system. So thus VM atomic model only simulates the load introduced by executing simulation jobs. Of course, the load, like for some certain simulation jobs and the background, etc. Okay, more details in the paper about this point. Okay, so to validate, we need to validate that the server really can simulate the actual load when we compare it to the same server in the real system under very similar circumstances. And also we need to see how the overall system behaves when we compare it to the real system under the same circumstances. Okay, so this picture shows like one model server and one real system server. And in real life, like at first we didn't get it that close, okay, but we keep tuning the model until it becomes as close as possible to real servers when they are executing same jobs, same simulation experiment concurrently. Okay, of course, the slight difference between them, it's basically because of the real system background, like the collected data for the model represent the background at the time we collected the data from the server that from the experiment that we used it, we use its data for our model. Okay, so this one shows like the difference or how these two the model and physical system compare to each other. Like number one figure, the number one figure, lift up number one, this is a real system, and number two, this is a model system. This one basically says like how the model and the system was able to distribute the load between those four servers based on this physical setup to this example, the one what we've already seen here. Okay, so our objective here basically like the model and the real system is still behaving in the same way. And also for the total execution job for the system between the real system and the model system as shown in the bottom figure, this is also basically still both of them showing the same behavior. Okay, like close, like as much as possible. Okay, so now when we build the model for a large system, now we have a confidence in this model. So we build it basically, we build like in each cloud has like 153 racks. Each rack has 20 server, and there is a router for each server. We're not showing the link model, by the way, here for simplicity. So that's the physical system that we are modeling. However, the one in the bottom, this is using by the same code as in the real system. This is just configuration in our methods in the software. In this case, we have 50 groups of servers. Each one of them has 60 servers. And the FAQ servers basically can be connected to the server on the top. And we have for each group one server. We use it like just to organize the whole tree. Okay, so our system, our objective here basically it is to study to study the system on the overall still scale when you add more servers, and the discovery time and selection time is still the same, which is basically shown here. And sorry, like I'm running out of time here. So basically, we tested it based on different examples, like when they have same resources, advertising same resources or different resources. And as we can see here, that basically the system is still stable, still being stable under all of these different circumstances. Thank you.